Well, hello, and welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Kat Knecht, and I'm excited to share with you many soul-driven strategies there are to help you succeed in your business and your life. Today, we're going to look at the importance of getting help. How about that? You need to have that support that's actually going to help you run a successful coaching business. My guest today has extensive knowledge and experience supporting coaches to grow and sustain their business. Here's a little bit about my journey and what I've learned about this. So I opened my coaching business, and like most coaches, I had just a handful of clients when I started, but I realized I was going to need help because there were some things I just didn't know how to do. The paradox of this is that I needed help to grow my business before I could actually, in my own mind, afford to have help. So I was fortunate that I had some people in my life that I knew, and I also had had a business before, and I knew this was a fact that the previous business I had would not have succeeded if we had not hired people to help us. So I decided to take the leap. I hired an accountant and I hired a young woman that I knew to help me do some of the admin, just a little bit. But this got me up and running. I knew that, oh, I could open a business account, and I knew how to kind of track the money from people. And this woman that I hired helped me organize the systems just a tiny bit so that I could put my time and attention on doing the marketing and sales, which actually is the thing that we coaches need to do, as well as delivering the service of coaching and all the other fun, creative things that I like to do. Without that help, I never would have been able to build the business foundation and have the 2+ decade career that I have now. I know this is a situation that many of you coaches face when you need help and support to grow a business that you don't feel like is making the money that's going to justify that. But here's the thing I found over the years, I keep needing help to grow my business. This is the really good news. Every time I get help, my business grows and then I need more help. So a few years ago, I was ready to grow my business. This is when my book first came out, and I knew I needed a higher level of support to make that happen. And I went looking for someone who already understood my business. This was a big aha for me. I often had to explain what a coaching business is and all the things that I need, but I found somebody who helped me organize my coaching business and grow it to the success that I'm experiencing today. So I can tell you without any hesitation that you want to listen to what my guest has today. And her name is Jackie Cunningham. Here's a little bit about her. Jackie is the CEO of Jackie Cunningham Virtual Solutions. She is part online business expert, part technology whiz, and a wee bit superhero. I love that part of her. Her passion is helping coaches and solopreneurs find freedom in their business so they can focus on what they truly love. She has worked with clients around the world for more than 15 years. And along with her small but mighty team of smart, skilled VAs, Jackie takes care of all the techie, tedious, not fun for you tasks to ensure that businesses, the back end runs smoothly. She partners with her clients to create plans, processes, and systems to help them implement strategies and grow their business confidently. I have to confidently say that. I was going to say confidentially. No, it's confidently. On a personal note, she's a proud mom of a compassionate young man on his way to becoming a police officer. She lives in central Illinois with 4 cats. I didn't know you had 4 cats. She loves to read, write, learn new things, and be near the ocean whenever possible. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm
Glad to be
just,
here.
it's, you and I have been talking about this. Before I even ask any questions, I'm going to set this up. So I
Okay.
have a business academy with coaches. I've worked with hundreds of coaches leading for the Coactive Training Institute. And for some reason, this area is really tricky and challenging for a lot of coaches. So I want to kind of start there. What would you say? Like, what's your to have the coaches feel like, oh, this I get it. This is why I need support.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that I always say to new clients when we're coming on and we're talking about things is that just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should be doing it, right? So
Yes.
especially as entrepreneurs, we always think that we have to do it all, that nobody can do it the way we do it, that nobody could, well, you can't hand off this or that or whatever. And I think that really keeps us small in a way.
Mhm.
It kind of keeps you in one place and doesn't allow for the growth that you want. So hiring someone to help you is going to free up so much time. And if you think about, what you could do with that extra 10 hours a month or 5 hours a month or 20 hours a month or whatever it is, that would actually help you grow your business. So that's, I think, the most important thing is that it's just the time that you get back by hiring someone to help you.
So there's time. There's
Time.
something else, Jackie, that I'm thinking of as you're describing it that we get when we get really good help and support. I don't know if it's energy or there's something almost magical in like, oh, I not only just have the time, I have more headspace. I have more,
Yeah.
right? What do you
Yeah.
find in that area that coaches experience when they get the help they need?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And I think when you work with the right person, it's you have a partner. You
Yes.
have a partner, you have a team, you have somebody behind you that not only is going to do the tasks and, take care of things, but also somebody that you can brainstorm with, that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can ask questions, get advice. So
Mhm.
I think it really does just give you that sense of not being out there by yourself. And now you have somebody that's going to support you and be there and be a partner with you. And I think that just relieves a lot of stress and overwhelm and all the things that you might be feeling trying to do it all by yourself.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this too. Again, since I have a business program and I work with a lot of coaches and I give them advice, a lot of the things you're talking about, but it's really different. It's a very different experience when you have somebody who's actually going to do the work.
Yeah,
Right? That's what I love about what you do so much is you take some things off my plate.
yeah,
So there's strategizing and there's having that brainstorming and having that support and feeling like I'm not in this alone. And then I don't have to do everything myself.
exactly.
So
Yep.
what have you found with coaches in particular? I mean, I don't know that you think, oh, these are the things coaches when you get it off your plate,
Yep.
you can see these coaches grow their business.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I work almost exclusively with coaches and consultants. And what I find is that most coaches are very creative and they constantly have ideas, new programs and new content and new things and all the things, and maybe don't understand how to actually make those things happen, but they have all the ideas. So when they have someone like me on board where they can come and say, oh, you know what? I really want to do this, but I don't know how to do that. Like, how can I make that happen? And then I can say, I know how to do that. Here's what we'll do, and here's what I need from you, and then I take that and run with it. You then can just keep creating and just keep creating those ideas and the content and the programs that you want to do and your coaching programs and how you want to work with clients. And I think it just gives you more freedom. I think is the thing. It gives you more freedom to do the things that are going to help you grow and help you make more money and work with more clients and all the things.
It was just so much fun talking to you, Jackie. Because again, so just full transparency to everybody listening, Jackie has been helping me. I think it's been 3 years now. So I'm
Yeah, I think
talking
so.
really personally about this. As you're talking, the other thing I feel like you have really helped me. So I want to underline a couple things here for the coaches listening. Find somebody like Jackie, if not Jackie herself, because I highly recommend her, who knows your business.
Right.
Because that's an issue I had. I had a lot of different support. There's some support I had, Jackie, like with people who I just thought were great and they were smart, and then they would do things and it'd be like, that's not really. for a coaching business. Like it's like
Right.
that doesn't actually work for this business. That would be great if I was a real estate agent or some,
Yeah.
some totally other kind of business. But another thing
Right.
that you have really helped me with, as you described what you do right there with coaches, we're creative, we have ideas, and we can't implement them all at
Yeah.
one time. So
Yes.
what I love that you've been able to do, and I'm just so curious what your experience with this is with coaches is. So you say to me, so Kat, that's great idea. You're always so positive. And here's what that's going to take.
Right.
And then there's usually a pause on my part, like, oh, so this thing I'm thinking that's going to be like, hey, Jackie, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that has worked for you with coaches about
Yeah.
really giving them the good news, bad news about this is
Right.
what that's going to take.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've been doing this a long time and I know all the ins and outs and I know what it takes to run all the programs and do the launches and all of that. And so it's interesting that you don't know what you don't know, right? And so a lot of times, a client will say, hey, I want to run a webinar next week. And I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a minute.
Oh my gosh, that used to
Hold
be
up.
me.
Okay, in order to do that, we need to create an opt-in page and we need autoresponders and we need promotional emails and we need to promote it and we need to do social media and we need to. So there's a lot that goes into it. It seems like it's something simple, like I want to do a webinar next week, but there's a lot on the back end you need to do in order to make it run well and to get the attendance that you're looking for. And you also want to think about the strategy. Why are we doing a webinar? You just want to do a webinar? Is it a training?
Because
Is it
everybody
something
does
you're gonna
them. I saw
promote
somebody
something
else
yeah,
do it
what's the
right.
reason here? So there's a lot that goes into it. And so I'm really good at kind of pulling back on the reins and saying,
Yeah,
okay, that's great. Let's do that, but let's think about it for a minute and let's plan it out and let's get our process in order and let's step by step get it done so that when we do that, we're going to get the outcome that we're looking for.
I
So
love
yeah,
that.
it is a lot of times with coaches, I'm pulling on the reins a lot, like, whoa, buddy, hold
That's
up a
such
minute.
that's such a great metaphor. I just can physically even feel that with a horse, but it's like, okay, let's have a steady pace here.
Right, right.
So your wisdom is so helpful in taking those steps. I love what you're saying too, is knowing why. What's the
Right.
purpose and what do you need to have in place so it's actually going to be effective? Because I hear this a lot from the coaches I work with. I'm posting on social media and I'm blah blah. I'm doing all the things, and yet it's not getting me the results
Yeah,
that I want because all those other pieces haven't been put in place.
exactly.
And this
Yep.
is where I see the overwhelm starts to happen. Then they're like, well, how am I going to get that all in place?
Right, right. And having somebody that can kind of help you organize all the things and prioritize it and lay it out, there's a step-by-step process to it. And I will always say, here's what I need, and then from that we're going to do this, and then here's the next thing I need. And so having somebody that can kind of walk you through that step by step so that you get all the things in place is really super helpful. And then knowing what to do after the thing that you do. Like, so, okay, we had
Right.
the webinar. Now what? Right? So what's the follow-up? What do we want to do after that to engage those people, keep them engaged and keep them on your list and all the things. So there's a lot that goes into it. And while I don't really say that I specialize in strategy per
Mhm.
se, I've worked with so many coaches over the years who've been through all the programs and
That's
I've,
right.
implemented all the things for them, that there are a lot of things that I just can help you kind of figure out,
Yeah.
um,
I
that
love
you
that,
might not know.
Jackie. Yeah, so there is a piece that having you or a VA, an expert in this area, you can take strategy and you understand what
Yes.
needs to happen. And you
Yep.
also can see, again, where those pitfalls are like, I'm not quite sure
Yeah.
those two things go together. Let's take
Right.
let's take a look at that strategy
Yep.
and see what I don't know how I like this exact question. I have it's like a two-part thing. What are the most essential? We'll start with the positive. What are the most essential areas that you found coaches need help with?
A follow-up is a big one. Nurturing their people, growing their list, getting out on social media so that they have all the places where people can find them. I think that's probably one of the biggest, is just that piece of it, growing your list and marketing yourself, getting out there. Marketing is huge. And I think coaches in particular, I think really have sometimes a hard time with marketing because it
Yes, they
feels
do.
salesy to them and they don't like to do it. And so it's
Yep.
really like something they resist.
Yep,
And I know you
absolutely.
teach this too, is
I
that,
do. This is the big
it's,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. And so making, and there's so much information out there. And what I see a lot is coaches will go to, a conference, or they'll do an online training, and this marketing person says to do it this way, and this one
That's
says to
right.
do it that way, and someone else says a different way. And what I always say to my clients is you have to find what works for you, right?
Absolutely.
The blueprint idea does not work.
No.
It just
Oh my
doesn't.
gosh, you and I are so in alignment around this. This
Yeah.
is why
It's
it's
just
been
like
such a good
you
teamwork.
can't take, this person's blueprint and drop it into your business and make that work for you. Some people can. I mean, if you're an online marketer and you're selling widgets or whatever, maybe you can do that. But I think coaching is a whole different,
It really
um
is.
it's just a whole different field. And it's, we don't like to be salesy and pushy and, all the
Well,
things. It
well,
has to
well,
feel authentic,
yeah, and
right?
that's what I love, actually. Paradoxically, maybe again about being a coach and helping coaches learn about marketing and selling in their business to do it authentically,
Yeah,
because that's for as coaches, really, that's what I'm going to put in quotes, have to do
right.
because we're selling something heart-paced. We're offering
Yes.
something that's, I'm going to put in here, there was an article in the New York Times. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Jackie. It was out when this broadcast, it was out. So it came out in early June, a whole big negative, I'm going to say it was a really negative slant on coaching and
Mhm.
how some coaches do get salesy and actually undermine what's good for the person that they're asking to serve. So what
Yep.
I hear you saying, and I totally am on board with this, is what you help coaches do is find, it has to be authentic to you. Not it's, it's salesy to me again is when we're wanting to convince somebody of something that's not true.
Right. Right.
Right? That's salesy is when like I want you to hear something and listen to something and buy something that's not going to be, right for you or not true, or I'm
Yep.
putting some kind of little lie in it.
Yeah.
But also,
Yeah.
so having help and support, the kind that you give and the kind that somebody who's really knows this business helps to put that strategy in place in a
Yep.
way that, like you said, is authentic to the person.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And being able to implement all the pieces, and this gets a little woo woo, but I know you're
That's
okay
fine.
with that.
We'll go woo woo.
Because I'm pretty intuitive. And
Mhm.
so a lot of times when I'm, reading what somebody's written in their email or their sales page or whatever, and I can hear in my head their voice, and I can look at what's on the page and go, that's
Mm,
not you,
yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
wouldn't say that. You would not say that to somebody. And by the same token, it also helps when I'm helping write things for people that I can hear that, hear them in my head, hear their voice,
That's
so
right.
that I can write in the same voice, the same tone, the same, style that they are actually speaking. Because I think that's when it's really important, is that you have to write to people in your marketing the way that you talk to them.
That's right.
Um,
I'm
and use
laughing here a minute,
and
Jack. I just
and
want to
use the words
underline
that
that.
they use, right?
Yes,
Use the words that your ideal
that's right.
client uses, not
That's right.
flowery stuff that you got in your blueprint.
That's a big thing I do in my program. And the Evolve Your Coaching Business program, we do a lot of work on doing research, finding out what do your people actually say?
Yes. What do they
What would
say?
you say in a conversation with them? If you were having
Exactly.
coffee, would they say this very beautifully, crafted thing? No, they would say, "Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I'm stuck. I don't like my
Yes.
job."
That's right. That's right. And when people are
Yeah,
having a hard time writing, I'll even say to that, like, imagine that you're sitting in a coffee shop with your ideal client across from you and just talk to them the way that
that's
you would
right.
talk if you're having a conversation. It
Eh,
doesn't have to be, you know, no contractions and all I mean,
No, not at
you
all.
have to be authentic. You have to speak to the people in the way that you would speak to them and the way that they are going to hear you.
And that's what really, oh, I love this. There's a little, one of those little thumbs up. Yeah. Came on the screen if anybody's watching. So what's essential? We're talking about essential is for coaches to have support in putting
Yes.
out an authentic message, have somebody who understands, make sure that they're getting, and then you said you started with follow up. I mean, this was so ingrained in me, it's like, oh, right. And part of that, Jackie, I want to say is part of the follow up, it's not just for the coach, it's for the people who they want to help because people feel dropped. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, that was so great. Whatever, you did a webinar or whatever thing with me, and I was feeling so inspired. And now where did you go?
right.
So
Yep.
follow up is important. So here's a thing that I also work with coaches a lot around. I'm curious what your take on this is. What do they not need help? Like where do they go? Where do they get off track going? Not essential. What's not essential or where they think they might need help, but you're like, yeah, that's not really where we need to start, or that's not what's most important.
Gosh, I don't. Trying to think what would be something that would be non-essential that they think they should focus on. I think it's really kind of when the coaches feel when they're doing a lot of the busy work, like the
Mm,
behind the computer. Oh, I'll just jump in and change this web page, or I'll just go tweak this, or I'll go do that, rather than really focusing on what's most important and what's going to generate the outcomes that they want and grow their business. And so that's where you can hand those things off. Like I think it's anything that there are certain things in the business that absolutely you have to do.
yeah,
No
that's
one else
that's
can do
that's
those
the
things,
other thing. It's like,
right?
sorry, you're actually, we
Yeah.
need your voice. We
Those
need you to
those are
put that
things,
thing
and
in.
not, if you say, hey, well, you no, no, that's, you need to do that. But there are a lot of things that you don't need to do. Like we said before, just because you can do them doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And so I think just thinking about, what are the things that I don't have to have, I don't have to do myself that I could hand off.
I
I think
love
that's
that.
a good
I
place to
think
start.
you were saying that to me is like, that's the bottom line of that.
Yeah.
There are things that you can hand off
Yep.
and you should hand them off
Yeah.
because they're draining. And you named
Yes.
something here, Jack. So they're draining. They're also avoiding. They're like, oh, I'll just like I said, I'll just do that as
Yep.
opposed to doing the thing that's actually going to grow the business.
Right.
Do
Right.
something that's actually you don't need to do. It's not your best thing to do. Let somebody who knows. This is the other thing I want to put in about having help. It's actually having somebody who knows how to do it better. Let's just
Right.
be honest about it,
Right.
right?
And we talk about, I know you talk about,
Yeah,
your zone of genius, your
that's
genius
right.
zone. And that's so true. Stay in your lane, stay at what you do best in your genius zone. And let me do what I do best,
Yeah.
right? Let me work in my genius zone. And that's, I think, critical.
I
Critical.
I think that's been one of my biggest learnings and so glad that we got to this. And my joys is, oh, there are things I'm not good at. Let's
Right.
just admit it. Just because I'm a coach and I have a business doesn't mean I know how to do some
Yeah.
of these things or like I said, just because I can do it, like literally can, it's not my thing to do. And
Right.
get somebody who's really good at it, like you are. I want to make sure we have time here. I know you have an offer to put out to the group, but I have one last question before we go to that.
Yeah.
What keeps you inspired in your work, Jackie?
In my work, I love working with coaches, and I work with all different kinds of coaches. So I learn stuff constantly.
Mm,
And my coaches tend to be more on the heart-centered side of working with people. And so there's always that, I mean, I'm always learning and growing from just working with my coaches, and
mm.
you know hearing the things that they teach and talk about and work with their clients. And then just being I'm a really creative person. And so,
Mm.
and I love technology. And so I
Woohoo.
mean, so this is like my dream job. I get to
Mm.
do the things that I love every single day. And I'm also fortunate that I'm able to work with only the people that are a good fit for me and that I love. And so, yeah, I enjoy everything about working with my clients, and they really are the clients are what keep me inspired.
That is so great. And this, I want to give this to the people listening, the coaches listening. You need to find a good match. That's what you're
Yes.
talking about, Jackie, right? And
Yes.
don't just hire somebody, I know, again, because whatever their cost or because,
Yeah.
your friend Alice used them and they were great. I mean, referrals are good, but you need just like a coach client
Yep.
match. The match is super, super important because you need to be able to trust this person. Because that's
Right.
the thing I learned. I had some people that supported me, and I didn't have that connection with them. And so it was just hard. It was
Yeah.
kind of like I would dread talking to the
Yeah.
person supporting me. And I'm like, oh, that I should feel free to say, here's what's happening. I think there's something also, Jackie, that you offer that I want all my coaches, if you're getting help and support, to have is that you feel free to talk about the things that aren't working
Yeah.
as well. So you really offer that safe place to say, "Oh my gosh, I messed up on this," or that didn't go
Yeah.
so well, and we can laugh about it
100%.
and
Yes.
unpack it and see what to do better next time.
Yeah. 100%.
So I want to give you the opportunity. We have a couple minutes left to talk about you. I know you have something with like 77 wonderful tips,
Yes.
or what is it? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So it's just a little guide, and it's called, and I have to look because I always get the title wrong,
Mhm.
77 Ways a VA Can Help You Focus on What Matters.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
curious, how did you come up with this? Like, that's a lot of
I
ways.
just it is, and people are always thinking, well, I don't know what can I hand off? What can a VA actually do? What can you
Right.
really do to help? I know you can, help me get my emails into MailChimp or whatever, but there's so much more that a lot of times I don't think people realize that, they can hand off or get help with. And so I really just started thinking about all the ways, like
Mm.
all the ways.
I love this is your creativity
Yes,
right
all the
there.
way.
And what a huge I love this as a gift for coaches. And we're going to tell them in a minute how they can get this gift.
Yeah.
And since you set my podcast things up, you know best. You're my first guest I've had who can actually help me with this piece because this could be a starting point for you. If you're a coach and you're listening to this and you've
Yeah.
wanted to hire a VA and you've thought about it and you just get like, I don't even know where to start,
Yep.
this can be your starting place. You can get this list. You can start looking it over. You can start looking at, oh, what are the top things I most need help with that is on this list? Because that's another recommendation I have, Jackie, is when you're looking for help, you need to you should know a little bit about, well, what do I need help with?
Yes,
It's not just
exactly.
like because it can be like 100 different things. It can seem like it.
Right.
So
Right.
having some specifics to start with could be really helpful.
Yeah. And different VAs do different things. There are VAs who just do admin things, that are going to
That's
help you
right.
with your calendar and scheduling and, booking travel and whatever. And then there are VAs like me who are more technical VAs. And so they are going to be able to help with your website and social media and creating your newsletters and the back end stuff. And some people are generalists. They do kind of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So it's good to know ahead of time, like you said, what are the big things? Like I always say, give me a list of everything that's keeping you up at night.
That's right.
What is it that stresses you
Oh,
out? What is it that overwhelms you? Like, give me all of it,
that's
and
so
then we'll
great.
unpack it and sort it out. But
So where can people find this wonderful
yeah,
list? How do they get a hold of it?
so they can go to my website, which is jackiecunningham.com, and it's jackiecunningham.com/gift,
Ooh.
and they'll be able to get it, download it. It's a PDF, so you can
And I'm
print it
sure
out
that
or
I know how wonderful you are at making PDFs and making things look pretty and make sense. I know this is one of your
yeah,
gifts. You really help with that practical step by step
yeah,
application of things. Beautiful.
yep,
So I highly recommend everybody listening to this go to Jackie's website. The information
yeah.
is comes along with this podcast. Check her out. Check her list out. Thank you so much, Jackie,
Thank
for coming on
you.
the show and sharing your wisdom. And I know there's so much more, so I'm going to talk you into coming on again. Okay. All
Yes,
right. Okay.
absolutely.
All right. We'll talk to you next time.
All right. Thank you, Kat.